It is it's now just the Terry Show because Jim just ran into a brick wall. Yes, that was a speeding car crash that Jim... I don't know what that was.
I meant it to be a missile, but it sounded kind of weak.
Okay. Well, either way, it was the end of the world as we knew it. We talked about that in REM a few episodes ago. Yeah. But we're looking at it a little differently. We're looking at it in terms of what are different faith traditions, different philosophical traditions about the future of humanity. So here we are, 2023. What did you think 2023 would be looking like when you saw Y2K roll around? Year 2000.
Oh, the year 2000. Well, I wasn't too enamored by, planes are going to fall out of the sky. I really...
You didn't believe there was a coding problem?
No. Like I liked all of that information, just liked it because it put some excitement in life. But people were working on that. So it didn't make any sense that anybody would fly a plane, any pilot, thinking it's going to drop out of the air. They knew nothing was going to happen. They had but other people wrote books, and unfortunately some of them, people of faith that wrote books, probably knowing they were just making a killing and then going by the wayside. Because I know one author, as you know, never did apologize, as far as I know, for all that he warned everybody that was going to happen, and it didn't.
I don't know whether he apologized. The author you're speaking of is Grant Jeffries, who has passed on.
Oh, he's passed away, has he?
Yeah. So that was a particular one for me because we were zealous back in, that's 23 years ago. 23 years ago, we were in the thick of the prophetic utterances of the Bible and how it's all going to come to pass. And we might have missed the Nike crowd going up into the tail of the comet, but we were next in line to get off this planet. The late, great Planet Earth, I think, was a very popular book in the 70s by Hal Lindsey. That also got my attention. And Left Behind.
Chariots of the Gods.
Chariots of the Gods. That's a little different. That was more the alien intervention kind of thing. But I'm thinking of the Left Behind. And I forget, Tim LaHaye perhaps did that?
I don't know.
Left Behind was about the rapture. And
there was
all of a sudden people would be disappearing. Their clothes would be there, but the body would be gone, raptured, disappeared. God's going to make you disappear. And so that book governed a lot of the 80s.
But I don't know. I think you're going to drop dead and your spirit's going to go.
So the body's going to be left here in the pile with your clothes on, and your spirit is going to be...
But who am I? I don't... there's a lot of people that don't even believe there really is going to be a rapture. I think there is, but I like all the things that we talked earlier about predictions enough. We haven't got enough information or the mind of God to know exactly what that's going to look like and when that's going to look like. I mean, let's face it, we're all going to die. So we're all going to be facing eternity or a lack of it, depending on what your beliefs are, when we leave this body. And a lot of us don't have all that much time. So the end's coming quick for a lot of people.
We're speaking of two retired guys, so we're on that, final.
We're
rounding third base, and we're looking for home. Hope we don't get thrown out at the plate.
Looking for the oxygen tank so we can make it right to the rest of the way.
So that's us, and what's our view of life from having lived, almost 3/4 of a century?
Well, I'm always looking for signs of the end in a biblical way. I've done that for most of my life because there's all kinds of signs always that could lead to the second coming. I think Christ deliberately put it this way so that we will be on the ball at all times because it could happen at any time. Others take that and they start putting dates on it and all the rest of it. And I'm saying, no, just be ready all the time because we're also told it's going to catch us like a thief in the middle of the night. So just be aware you're not going to see it stand right in front of you. Others just think mankind's going to wipe itself out. But there's others who think that there's this great utopia coming, that man has finally came into a mental level where we're going to figure all this out and evil's going to be abolished. There's going to be free energy, free everything.
Well, let's look at that for just a bit. There is AI, algorithms that are self-aware.
Yeah.
That's kind of a scary thought.
Yeah.
But it could be the cusp of something interesting, as in good.
It could be. I have a rough time seeing it personally, just seeing the hearts of man, and we've saw it recently with Hamas. They just didn't go in and take on an army or anything. As a matter of fact, they refused to dress in army clothes so that they can hide amongst civilians and attack Israel in the most brutal way possible so that they could, in my opinion, get the world to attack Israel.
Okay, we'll get to the Hamas-Palestine thing maybe in another podcast. For
Okay.
this one, let's link it back and say some people do believe that it is necessary to escalate the violence and chaos in order to bring about the end of the world as we know it.
Yeah, I knew someone who was a, what do you call them?
Anarchist?
Anarchist. I knew someone who was. We had a little bit of an argument. This was many, many years ago about politics. And I said, well, why don't you run? You're so no way on this earth, man. I want it all done. And I found out he was an anarchist.
Yeah.
He wanted mankind to just wipe himself out. It's kind of sad, but...
Yeah, I'm sort of wondering who these people are who take that darker view of humanity and history. If there was nothing worth redeeming, then even in a Christian framework, there would be no salvation. There's nothing worth redeeming. But apparently there is. So you don't want the end. You don't want the hostility. You don't want the violence.
I'm a believer, and because of Christ, and not because I'm good, but because of Christ, I'm going to go to glory when I die. I'm in no hurry, Terry. And that is a conundrum with me. But I think part of it is, you're going to leave your family sad and different things like that. I mean, who's going to sit in this chair when I'm gone?
That's right.
So I want to live. I want to live and have a full life. I'd like to have a healthy full life, and I thank God for what I got. I don't know my point. I forget what my point was.
Something along the line, a line from a song came. I can't live if living is without you.
Yeah. Well, there's just so many signs of darkness and people wanting to go there. You take Hamas. Hamas, they want to be in that area. They did atrocities, thinking either one, that the Jewish people are not human, or they just were willing to kill themselves, the Jews, and anybody else because their creed is to wipe them off the face of the earth.
That's right.
So their hate is so thick that they'll put the Palestinians at risk as well. We know now that the hospital was not blown up by Israel.
Yeah, we'll get to that in
right.
another podcast.
But that's pure dark, and the darkness also rests in the people who claim to be innocent victims who will not tell the truth about that very bombing. So then you want this group of people, the Jews, to just take you at face value when you're willing to support the people that want you eliminated. It's a complicated world. And then the Palestinians have their whole argument on why Hamas had to do what they had to do.
We're getting to a Hamas-Israel
sorry.
podcast later.
I'm sorry.
So
I'm just there.
To stoke the fire, we're talking about a group of people who believe that fomenting dissent, stirring up strife, and creating anarchy and chaos through violence and insurrection and terror, that these people, that's part of what they believe they are supposed to do to usher in the brave new world.
Yeah.
The Aldous Huxley view of humanity that is still to come, the fulfillment of, what is it, the other 10% of our brain that we're not currently using or whatever.
Yeah, there's a whole thing with that as well. I'm just way too simple to get into the divisions.
Well, we should be able to measure progress, and I think human progress, if we just take within our lifetime. Here's two old guys talking about it, looking back. Look at all the things that we've seen. There were no personal computers during our lifetime. There were no cell phones during our lifetime.
Oh, yeah.
In my lifetime, there was no color TV. And my daughter still says when she sees some of the black and white pictures, which were common at that time before Kodachrome and who was that?
But the black and white pictures that she's seeing now are doctored up to be better than what you and me saw.
Yes, they're colored enhanced. They're going back and looking at the old black and white films and colorizing them. Yeah, so even the memory then could be changed. It's not what really took place. It's
Yeah.
an imagined thing. Yeah.
Do you remember that every park had a fountain where you could get a drink?
Yes.
Yeah.
Public water
Yeah.
access.
Yeah.
Unless, of course,
every
you
park.
had a sign that said, "No Jews or dogs on the beach," in which case the
that's
fountain was...
horrible.
That's Toronto beaches.
I know. That's
Yeah, so-
no Jews or dogs. Oh Lord,
But
forgive us.
that's Toronto in the 1930s. I'm thinking that fountain would have been labeled whites only if it was in America during the 40s, 50s, 60s. I don't know when it stopped.
So you're saying we've come a long way,
That's what I'm saying.
or have we? Or
Well,
are we just
that's
more
the question
tolerant?
that we hold at the end as we go back and we say, but look at our lives. There's this, and this has improved. Healthcare has improved. Or are we going backwards now?
Well, is there more insanity now with all these wonderful luxuries? I wonder. Of course there is. There's more population, but you get
With
my
all of the
point.
luxuries? What luxuries are you speaking of?
Well, computers are a luxury. You kidding? You can put music down. You don't
Oh,
have to
they're
go
not
to
a luxury; they're a necessity now.
Well,
We've gone from only the few wealthy, and I told you the story of my first. I'm thinking it was a DX 386 something, and monochrome monitor cost me as much as my first used car.
Yeah.
And I had a choice. Do I get this for my family as an investment in careers and future? Little did I know that was the best investment I ever made.
Really
It
good.
was like investing in IBM, a blue chip
And what did the
stock.
Sampson household do? My wife and I bought Pong. That kept the interest for about a half a minute.
Boing,
Poing.
boing.
And what it took to hook it up.
Yes.
So you could Pong back and forth. It was,
To a black and white
Yeah,
TV,
yeah.
though, you didn't need color.
oh, but I mean, I remember our first video cameras, the size of what they got at Channel 9 Studios
Oh,
now.
right.
And you put it on your shoulder, I think it was $1,200
And it took a full-size cassette,
Yeah, full-size cassette.
VHS.
Yeah, and where are they? They're long gone. Some of the cassettes are around, but I don't know where we
As
were going
we
with
will
this.
be long gone, having endured sort of nearly 3/4 of a century. Wow, what a marker in the sand that is.
It is.
But the world will get better. Will it grow old like us and stop?
Or will it get worse?
Questions for the Jim and Terry Show. Bye-bye for now.